My parents were divorcing and the atmosphere in the house was not the best you could imagine. There were constant fights and aggression. Both events happened when I was around 9 or 10, so I don't remember which happened first. My father was since the early days of the 80s in IT, and so I learned pretty much everything I knew at that time from him, and I was a bit ahead of tech knowledge for my age in that time. He had his bureau in the basement and the house was a big and brand new 4-floor house. He always left for work and came only after 5 p.m., so the bureau was never really used by him or anyone else and was my test ground at that time. That day, as usual, everyone else was on the other floors and I was on the computer looking up these weird sites. Just saying, rodent-like sites should ring some bells to some of you. And I swear, out of nowhere I hear this fucking indescribable demonic growl mixed it with a light laugh right next to my right ear. It was not subtle or faint at all, and I'm 100% deaf on the right side, but I clearly felt the sound vibration against my skull and small wind against my ear, like when someone whispers. There were no windows at all as it was underground and the walls were thick, not a US house but a well-isolated, thick, new and modern Swiss house. There was no sound enabled on the computer, no video playing in the background either, and I know and can distinguish when the sound comes from the screen stereo as I hear perfectly fine from the other ear. It was such a sudden and strange growl, and I can imitate it more or less if someone asks me, but I absolutely can't describe it in words. My brain instantly understood, and man, I never moved so fast in my life as that day. If there was a day where I could have beaten Usain Bolt, it was this one. Took me months to go down there again and feel safe, but I never actually did after that. Always looked around and was like not focused on the computer, only to be ready in case something strange happened again. The nannies we had at that time also reported strange sights, and my little brother, he was 6 at that time, once came down from the 4th floor crying and panicking as he saw a big black guy entering one of the little doors where the toys were stored. The whole 4th floor was our playroom and had 2 of these little storerooms each on a side of the room, except they didn't lead anywhere and had only toys stored in them. The second strange event happened to both of us. We were sleeping and suddenly we hear a bell ring in the middle of our room. The sound was so clear and both of us heard it. First time it didn't bother us much as we just thought it might be a toy or something that was left in our room. Well, that fucking bell began to ring every night from this day on forward and always at the same time. Strange was also whenever it rung, both of us awakened suddenly without fail, fatigue or anything, just straight up awake in the middle of the night. My mother and grandmother heard it too after they decided to sleep with us to check on it. We never discovered what it was. Even after taking everything out and leaving only our 2 mattresses in the room, it continued. My grandmother, who is heavily religious, began to pray every night before the bell hour came, and after several months it vanished only to reappear several months later on the new apartment that we moved after the divorce of our parents. It was 200 kilometers away from where we lived before. Again, this time it vanished after heavy and repeated prayer, and thankfully it never came back. I write this as the years passed. I contemplated all possibilities of external influence, like I said, sound coming from computer, exterior, etc., but the neighbors' houses were not collated together and you could not play this kind of prank in the 90s to several ppl and on a constant basis like the episode of the bell. You could have hidden something well, but we took out everything and the sound always came from the middle of the room, plus continued after moving to another state. I'm having the chills just remembering this period of my life. Paranormal or not, it was either way really a dense moment for everyone.